Hi, folks, and good morning, and welcome to our Facebook Live program here on the Murray State Athletics Facebook page at OVC Basketball Media Day at the Doubletree Hotel in downtown Evansville. My name is Dave Winder, and everybody knows this young man sitting next to me, the voice of the Racers, Neil Bradley. Neil, good to see you here this morning.
Boy, no kidding.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and we're going to be on the air for the next half hour just talking some Racer basketball. Here we go, huh? It's just like you anticipate the basketball season, and then this day comes, and then from here on, we're going to be rolling towards actual games.
And plus, they've even moved the season a little bit closer, so the football, basketball, they coincide a little bit more. But I can't wait. Last year was just a terrific season of Racer basketball, but lost some big pieces. But there's always excitement with the youth and the returnees, and a great recruiting class from Matt McMahon. And there's a lot of excitement with Rochelle Turner's team, some new pieces, losing some important ones as well. But I'm excited about what they're going to do too.
Well, we all are, and we're going to have Rochelle first up here in about 10 minutes. And until then, Neil and I are just going to hang out with everybody and kind of go over the announcement of the all OVC teams and such here this morning from the Doubletree Hotel. And that'll be leading up to Matt McMahon, and then also our interim director of athletics, Velvet Milkman. She's going to sit down with us a little bit before we get. I guess we're shooting for a half an hour. We could go a little longer, just depending on how it goes. So first, let's talk about the OVC men's poll that came out here this morning, and I'll just read them over here for you. For the men, the Racers are number 2 with 9 first-place votes. Belmont is first with 8 first-place votes, and Jacksonville State is third with 7 first-place votes. The consensus thinking of all of the sports information directors and the head coaches is that Belmont, Murray State, and Jacksonville State are pretty much the top 3. Austin Peay is just below that at number 4, and Tennessee Tech is number 5. I think during the summer, and you look at what everybody has coming back, it's a testament to the Racer brand that they're picked number 2 after losing 2 great players like Jonathan Stark and Terrell Miller.
Well, with John Morant and Shaq Buchanan, Breon Sanchez, it's not as if the cupboard is empty by any stretch, and some other players who played key roles on that team. So I think exactly as you said, it shows. And come on, year in and year out, it really doesn't matter where the Racers have finished the year before. They're going to be picked at or near the top. Belmont, they have more returning. I understand that. Stark and Miller, that's 2 big pieces to lose. But Jacksonville State, they had the Tennessee transfer into a couple of all-conference guys. And I was talking with Steve Payne with Tennessee Tech. He's excited about the team he has, believes they may be even more talented than last year. So I think they probably did a good job of picking those top 4.
Well, they probably did, and as we know, with the 18-game conference schedule, that's a lot of basketball. Adding those 2 extra games last year, I thought, was good for the league, and it really, I think, distinguished the Racers as the best team in the league as they ran the table to win it at 16-2. So the rest of the men's poll is Eastern Kentucky, number 6, Eastern Illinois, number 7, Tennessee State, number 8, SEMO, number 9, and then the bottom 3 is Morehead State, UT Martin, and SIUE. So the all-OVC preseason team includes Shaq Buchanan and John Morant. Those 2 guys had just tremendous seasons for the Racers in their first season with Murray State. Shaq is a senior this year, Ja is a sophomore. Let's talk about Shaq Buchanan for just a moment. I called him the Swiss Army knife of the team last year. He was pretty much great in every category. He led the team in steals with 25. I think from a scoring capability, I think Shaq is capable of a lot more. They didn't need it from him last year, because if you look back at what he did in junior college, he's capable of a lot more scoring.
Yeah, and his 3-point shooting really didn't emerge till the OVC tournament, and it's when they needed him. Terrell had struggled in one of the games, and Shaq makes a big 3, and I think that got his confidence going. But he didn't have to hit the 3 last year. Didn't have to be counted on that. He did what he was asked to do, play great defense, rebound, and be a really important part of the team offensively and defensively. And now this year, believe there will be an expanded role for him offensively. I don't know if the Racers will have anyone that averages 20 or more points a game. That may not be the case this year, but I do believe that they have a lot of different players who could score, maybe as many as 8 or 9 who will contribute basically night in and night out.
Well, and then John Morant, and just to his stock rising over the summer aside, I think Coach McMahon and Ja have done a good job of just putting all of those things that could happen after this season aside, because Coach knows and John knows that the best thing he can do for his future is to keep playing great and for the Racers to keep winning. But talk about an increased role. Everybody's going to try to stop John Morant this year.
Exactly, and that'll start with the very first game with Wright State. They know all about Ja. They got to see him up close and personal last year when we were there near Dayton at their arena at the Nutter Center. So that'll start right there. But you mentioned Ja making the Racers better. If he does that, they have a big year. At the National Writers' Day, they don't follow 5 and 15 teams. They follow winning teams, teams that are putting up tremendous numbers, and that is the reason it's only going to help Ja if that happens. It'll only help the Racers if he has a big year. I'm really looking forward to that.
So losing Terrell Miller, which, by the way, congratulations to Terrell. He was drafted by the Erie franchise of the Atlanta Hawks in the G League as the number 5 pick, so he'll be playing in the United States. You know, losing Terrell Miller and what he was able to bring, he was that outside threat, but he was also a great rebounder, the leading rebounder on the team. That's where Anthony Smith and Breon Sanchez now come in. They're both seniors, and I really think both of them could be primed to have a great season. Now, they both haven't scored much. Do you, Neil Bradley, see either one of them kind of picking up the scoring pace a little bit?
I still believe Anthony Smith's scoring will come from down low, putbacks and things of that sort, maybe free throws, so he may pick it up. I'll tell you the guy to watch, though, is Breon Sanchez. He's added that mid-range jumper, and he consistently hits it in practice. Can he bring that to a game? I'm not sure, but having that 12 to 15-foot jumper, it creates a lot of openness down low, because when you have to bring your big guys out, we saw that with Terrell last year. It leads to opportunities inside, and plus you always need a guy who can make that jumper. So I think you'll actually see Breon. I don't know if he'll be a 10-point-a-game guy, but I think he'll get another 4 or 5 points a game this year.
And then K.J. Williams, freshman out of Mississippi, Cleveland, Mississippi, another former high school quarterback, just like Breon Sanchez was a high school quarterback. He's going to have a mix in here. I don't really know much about him yet because I haven't seen him play. All I've seen him is in practice. And then I just think Devin Gilmore he's in his second year, and then maybe he can jump in there and help as well.
Breon Whitley also did some really nice things in the OVC tournament. Played the role that he was asked to play. I think you could look for him to step up. But here's the guy that I believe that's going to shock Racer fans. That's Tevin Brown. Tevin can knock it down, loves that corner shot, can make the corner threes. He's the one I believe might surprise Racer fans because they didn't get a chance to see him last year due to his injury.
Well, and then we kind of wrap around with the rest of the roster too. There's so much that we're so excited to see. Mike Davis, who was a JUCO guy from Alabama. He can shoot the three. He can also rebound. And then throw in Javion Eves, who's the junior college transfer from John A. Logan. Jalen Johnson is a guard out of Hopkinsville, and then Daquan Smith had a little bit of a foot injury over the summer. It's just going to be a lot of fun to kind of see how this whole thing kind of comes together for that first exhibition game for the Racers against Brescia on November the 3rd, or the 5th rather, and then 5 days later the Racers take on Wright State, which, by the way, they won the Horizon tournament a year ago, and they're picked first in the Horizon League, so that's going to be a tough home opener.
Yeah, it's very good. But to me, those are, there's either a cupcake or a great opponent. I like this. Part of a really special Saturday with a football early in the day and then basketball that night. And Wright State is, to me, an elite mid-major program from a super conference. You'll likely see them perhaps do some damage in the NCAA tournament this year if they can stay healthy. This is a prime opponent. What a way to open the season.
Well, there you see the Brescia game on November the 5th. That's 7 p.m. at the CFSB Center. Then Wright State comes in on November the 10th, and then the Racers I really think Matt McMahon the last 2 years has done a great job, and we've never really seen this type of scheduling at Murray State. Last year, what was it, the first, including the exhibition game, our first 7 were at home.
Yes.
This year, the first 4 are at home before the Racers have to hit the road for Alabama on the 26th. So they've got Wright State at home on the 10th, and then Spalding on the 16th, and then Missouri State comes in on the 24th. So I've always liked to start your season at home and kind of get your feet on the ground.
And it's a really fan-friendly schedule. If you like to travel with the Racers, no plane tickets will be involved. They're all very drivable games. Even, Jacksonville State, probably the toughest drive, but the Alabama, Auburn, those are really good trips, and fans can make those. It's probably the most fan-friendly schedule, and the fact that it's also very challenging with the 2 SEC opponents, SIU. It's really going to be, I think, a great schedule for fans.
Neil Bradley, voice of the Racers, and Dave Winder here in Evansville at the Doubletree Hotel. We are at OVC Basketball Media Day, and we're just kind of waiting the arrival of Rochelle Turner, Murray State's women's basketball coach. She's going to sit down with us, and she's in a head coaches meeting at the moment, but we thought we'd come on and just kind of get things going here today. This Media Day thing here has really become quite an event, hasn't it, Neil? It wasn't that long ago we were just taking a few pictures and writing a story,
Sure.
and now we're doing podcasts, and now we're doing live stuff.
Well, it's what technology does. It helps us make things, to me, a lot better. And used to, we would arrive, didn't know anything about how the polling was. You'd find out when they would hand these things out. Now there's a lot of extensive coverage. We have, I think, 2 radio stations are doing live shows from the event today. There's a OVC digital network that has their own event. The coverage is great. I mean, the OVC is as well covered as it's ever been. I only see that getting better. And oh my, moving to Evansville, what a terrific move that was.
And if you want to go out and check out, maybe after our live program is over, check out the OVC Facebook page.Ey're going to have live with every coach in the league, and that's going to be a lot of fun too. Of course, this one here, if you haven't caught all of it, you can go back later and watch it. And it's our pleasure now to welcome in the head coach of the Murray State women's basketball team, Rochelle Turner. Coach, you just got out of your meeting. Any breaking news out of your meeting?
No breaking news, just continued a lot of talks about the same thing that you talk about in the spring.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, I know you're excited to get your season going. Tell us how it's been going in the preseason for your team, and you've been at it all summer.
We're very excited. We love our kids. We love the direction we're going. We feel like we have a lot of talent, and the chemistry and the culture of the basketball team is exactly where we want it to be at this point. It may even be above what we thought it would be at this point. When you mend 8 new players in with only 5 returners and have 1 senior, then you never really know how that's going to go. But our upperclassmen and our underclassmen have really come together for one common goal. And really proud of where we're at this point.
I know picked 12th.
Like it.
However, that's when I saw that, it's like that's the best thing that could have happened because I know the coach and I know your players. That's going to be big, isn't it?
That is huge. I actually went some bets with my coaching staff. I told them all along that's where we'd be because on paper, why wouldn't we
Sure.
be that? We only have 2 players returning that hadn't played any minutes last year at all. We lost OVC Player of the Year, lost other seniors that were a big part of our scoring and all the stats that people look at. But as competitive as I am and my staff is and my players are, this is exactly what we needed at this point, just to continue to work. I've said all along that this team was going to surprise a lot of people, and what better way to go from the bottom up.
I was really excited to see how Evelyn Adebayo, who sat out last year from Gardner-Webb, how she conducted herself during her sit-out season. I think she's ready to go, and she's going to help you a lot. And I'm just kind of going by Racer Mania. I didn't know she had the ball handling skills that she's got.
She is an outstanding addition. Of course, anytime you have to come in and set out, that's difficult. You practice, you do all the conditioning, you never get to travel, you never get to play the game. But I don't know what it is, but in a couple months ago, things just really started clicking with her. She realized her potential. We've been trying to tell her all along. She stepped up and put herself in a leadership role of this basketball team, and she is very skilled. She can do so many things. She can shoot She can bring the ball down the floor, and she's very big and physical on the inside. Gives us a presence that we just didn't have last year at all. We're really excited about her capabilities, and I think people will know who she is pretty quick.
I know you have Michaela Manley as your only senior, but I know you're probably trying to get leadership from some other areas too, Coach.
Absolutely. Michaela is a great kid. That's where you start with your culture, when you have kids like that care about other people and are willing to do whatever it takes to help their teammates get better. But I think we're going to have a lot of leaders this year. Everybody can lead in their own unique way, and that's what we've talked to these players about. We have kids that are just going to strictly lead by example. They're not going to say a whole lot. And then we have some kids that are vocal. And then you just basically have to find your niche. But I'm all about everybody leading in their own way and everybody doing their part.
Brianna Crane, to me, was outstanding as a freshman. Can she take another step up, because she was great last year?
She's going to do a lot of great things for us. She's so athletic. She can do so many things, but, you know, her heart and her motor are what makes her special. She was undersized every game last year, but she gave it her all. And you know, you look at her stats, and she had a pretty good year, especially as a freshman being thrown in that situation. So we expect her to step up and continue that this year.
Coach, I can't wait to get you on the Running with the Racers podcast at some point, because the theme that we've kind of talked about with the current student athletes that we've had, and we've had Daisha Brown from Murray State Volleyball, we've had Alex Steigerwald from Murray State Soccer, two programs that have developed an amazing culture of hard work and winning and excellence. You've got this thing going called We Over Me. And I know it, some people say, well, that's corny. Maybe a little bit, but in athletics, sometimes it's a little phrase that just clicks with the kids, and it's not just a phrase, but it's the way that the racers do what you do. Mitch has got find a way, and they're finding a way right now.
Very much so.
Talk about that a little bit. How here you are in your second year, and you're developing a culture and a program that's going to stand the test of several seasons here.
Well, We Over Me is basically our culture statement, and through that we feel like that there's components that you have to have within you and within a team to be champions. So we have champs. We have character, hard work, accountability, mental toughness, positive attitude, and selflessness, and those are all components that go into being a champion. But we just ask ourselves as a staff and as players every single day, is this decision I'm making for me, or is it for we? Is this going to better myself? Is this going to better my team? And I think the kids have really bought into that, and they've understood what it takes to be successful, and that chemistry can take you a long way. And just been really proud of them accepting that and understanding that that is what we are going to go with. Slogans are slogans if you do not teach them and if you do not have expectations for them. But we have a time set aside every week where we do culture connections. So we teach the different aspects of that culture to make sure that our players understand what the expectations are. But again, it's on them to take that on, and I've been really proud of how they've done that so far.
We've been kind of looking at one of the videos that we played during Racer Mania, and that last shot there brings me to my next question. Perfectly timed by Alex Gatlin and Jonathan Harkey, who are working behind the scenes, and they've set this whole thing up here from Evansville at OVC Basketball Media Day. Is your locker room done? And tell us how you did it as it pertains to the schedule this year.
Well, I know everybody looked at the schedule and thought she has lost her mind, and I have. There's no doubt about that. But one of the things, our facilities at Murray State are outstanding, second to none. The one thing that we felt like that needed improvement, hadn't been improved in 20 years, was our locker room. So we took that upon ourselves, and we knew that if we wanted to do that, we had to pay for it. So we're playing 3 money games this year, and with the help of CFSB, we've been able to basically put together an $85,000 locker room renovation. It's beautiful. It just brings a whole different atmosphere and attitude when you walk in the door. Actually, as we speak, I hope our graphics are being put up. Everything is complete except our graphics aren't finished. You took some pictures for us the other day that we're going to hope to get up in the lockers pretty soon. But I think that it's safe to say that we'll have the best locker room in the conference when it's all said and done. But our players are going to pay for that a little bit this year. Our non-conference schedule is brutal. Although we're excited about the challenge and the opportunities, we also know that sometimes throwing young teams into those situations can be difficult. But we recruited a lot of winners, and they understand that to be the best, you have to play the best. So that's kind of our philosophy in going at that schedule.
I wanted to say a little something about your three Murray girls who are freshmen. We spoke to you a few weeks ago, and you talked about how you're probably harder on them in terms of earning playing time than you would be on anyone else. And it's for fans who haven't seen them play. I've been asked a couple of times, are they really that good? It's like, I've seen state tournaments, yeah, they're that good, but they're not going to be handed any playing time. Talk about that relationship this year.
Well, it's like coaching your children. My husband coaches my son in baseball and tells him every day, you have to be better. It can't even be close. You have to be better for me to be able to put you on the field. That's the same conversation I have with them because, you know, they are looked at as my girls. I've coached them since 7th grade, 8th grade, but, you know, they came in understanding that. I told them that in the recruiting process. If you want an easier chance to play, you need to go somewhere else. If you want to play here, you're just going to have to be that much better and put in the work. And they've accepted that, and they've embraced that, and they've done that. I think they earn the respect of their teammates immediately by how hard they work, by the character that they conduct themselves with, and just their ability to play basketball. You know, one thing for me is I had so many people, you would hear people say, well, the only reason they're going there is because she's the coach. Well, we'll see. I think that we can use that as motivation. I think sometimes people need to watch who they poke. Poking the bear is not always the best thing to do. So I'm anxious for them to come out and show the reason that they're on this roster.
Here you are about to start your second season as the Racers head coach. The thing I've been impressed with the most is how you made that transition from Murray High School to Murray State, where your organization with your staff, it had to evolve. It had more areas. Recruiting all of a sudden is they always say if you get up every day just like you brush your teeth, you're recruiting. You know, you're recruiting constantly. So tell us a little bit about your staff and how you all do what you do, because the people who drive by that practice facility on 641, fans have asked me, well, what do the coaches do? I mean, you guys are in there early, and really it's kind of a race every day to get to practice, isn't it? Because you got a lot to do before practice even starts.
It is, and I couldn't do anything that I do without my staff. I think that they're outstanding. They are player-centered staff. They're selfless in the way that they handle things. They are servant leaders, not only to me, but to our players, and that's important for me, and what they stand for and their character above all, because ultimately God placed these players in our hands, and we owe it to them and their parents and their guardians to take care of them and treat them as if they are our own, and our staff does that every single day. Coach Guffey is an amazing recruiter. She's a great player developer. She's a Hall of Fame player. So our players know, if you want to know what it takes to get to that level, this is what you follow. This is the formula. So that's great for our players to have. Coach Scaife is also an outstanding recruiter, player developer. He's just brought a lot of personality to our staff. His demeanor, our players really like him. He is a player first kind of guy. He'll even take up for the players with me, and I think the players realize that he does that for them. So with having such a predominant figure in the Murray State women's basketball community as Coach Guffey, and then having Coach Jay come along, you know, I feel like that we're where we need to be in player development and recruiting. And Coach Monica, as they call her, is the glue. She's the glue that holds us all together. She's the type of person that tells you what you necessarily don't want to hear, but what you need to hear. She does that to me on a daily basis. She's positive all the time. She is just that voice that I have to have in my head that keeps me going every day. And somebody's got to be good cop, bad cop, and I'm almost always the bad cop. But they know they can go to Coach Monica for anything, and just the way that our staff is put together is tremendous, and I'm very blessed.
Year one to year two, you would have thought there's nothing that Rochelle could learn. But in a year, from 1 year to year two, college coaching, learn anything you're doing different this year?
Everything, everything. I have a list of things to never do again, and I have a list of things, hey, this might work, let's try it. I think patience is something that I'm trying to get better at. I'm not good at it. I do think that I have understood that winning is not something that just happens. You get so used to it, and you don't lose very often, and You understand that, winning is learned. Players have to understand what it takes and how to win. And so, yes, I've learned a lot. And I'm going to tell you, Coach McMahon has been a tremendous asset in all of his staff. They are wonderful. They treat us great. It's always nice to throw things back and forth off of them. They're very supportive, and I don't think a lot of schools can say that, but we are very, very blessed to have the men's staff that we have.
Well, and we're blessed to have the Ray Center for Murray State basketball, where both of you, both teams are centrally located, and I know you guys feed off of each other, and that's really, really good, really good. Well, Rochelle, thanks for stopping by, and enjoy the rest of your media day activities. She and Coach McMahon have a lot to do.
Oh, yes.
Before, say, 2 o'clock today. So good luck with everything.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's Rochelle Turner, the head coach of the Murray State women's basketball team. We're going to let her get up, and Coach McMahon is going to come in and have his seat. There you look at the women's basketball pair of games to open the season. November the 1st is the 6 p.m. exhibition against Lindsey Wilson, and that's coming up here real soon, Neil. And then the opener November the 7th against Evansville. Here we go.
It's here right upon us. I can't wait to see the exhibition. I'm really excited about women's basketball, probably as excited as I've been in a number of years. Last year was fun, but I knew what was coming this year and what's coming in the future, and you better be jacked and get ready for some fun. It's going to start this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Well, head coach Matt McMahon is here. He just got out of his head coaches meeting here at the OVC Basketball Media Day in Evansville at the DoubleTree Hotel. A little bit later on, we're going to be heading over to the Ford Center for a luncheon today. Commissioner Beth DeBush, she'll be speaking, and also some other dignitaries from the city of Evansville and the county. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do that at lunch. And Coach, thanks for joining us. How's your morning been so far? The first time I saw him this morning, he was headed out for a 10-mile run. Did you go 10 miles?
No. Great to be here. Dave, Hall of Famer Neil Bradley. Excited to get another season of Racer basketball underway.
This team has been with each other all summer. That's how you build a team, is in those summer months. And tell us how that kind of went, which is leading us to the official practices that you've been having for a few weeks now.
Well, I love our team. I love the character of the people we've been fortunate to put on our team this year. I think we have a good nucleus returning with Ja Morant, Breon Sanchez, Anthony Smith, and Shaq Buchanan, 4 of our top 7 off last year's team. And our newcomers have done a nice job of coming in and really buying into the culture and the processes by which we try to build our team. We've done a lot of things, from running the bridge together to going to Baloo's for milkshakes to you name it, trying to do things outside of just the basketball to build the relationships within our team.
As far as practice, are you anywhere closer to having that whittled down to the 7, 8, 9 guys that are going to play?
Wait a minute. That's Will Aubrey's question.
I didn't ask him the starting 5, but you did say that there was, last year that was pretty well defined. It's not as well defined this year, though, is it?
No, I agree, Neil. I think that's a big difference from last year's team. At this point, we knew who the top 8 were. Still some jockeying for position there, but we knew who they were. This year, I think there's still a lot more decisions to be made, a lot of competition at every position, which is a good thing. And so we have a big week of practice coming up, going into our first scrimmage, and then the exhibition the following week, with still a lot of things to be determined.
So, speaking of Ja Morant, Neil and I were talking during our first segment. I think you and Ja have both done a really good job of kind of putting all of those things that everybody's talking about after he went to the Chris Paul camp, just putting those to the side and concentrating on the things that he can control and the things that you can control. Tell us a little bit about that, because Ja, like a lot of racers we have come through here, you could just tell the first time I met him, he's got a good head on his shoulders. His family's got a good head on their shoulders. And you guys have just done a great job. Tell us that whole dynamic and how the summer went and where he's at right now.
Well, it's been really exciting, and all the attention is well deserved that Ja's brought in from national writers, NBA scouts, so on and so forth. I think you look at his freshman season that he had, statistically 13 points, almost 7 rebounds, 6 assists, only been done by 5 players in the last 26 years of college basketball. And the best thing about him is he makes everyone around him better. But I think as you see all this attention come in, I've talked about it before. Ja possesses a great trait, and that's humility. And so he's very focused on building his team, stepping forward as a leader on this year's team as the best player and the point guard. And I think he's done a nice job of that and shown a lot of growth in those areas. He has a great support system with his family back home. And, you know, he's handled all the attention well and is just focused on doing what he has to do to, number one, get better as an individual player, but more importantly, to help his team have a successful season.
Man, I know you were picked second, and when I tweeted that out, some fans were like, what? And I was not aware, maybe some of them didn't know you lost Terrell Miller and Jonathan Stark. So that's probably a really fair pick. But to me, it shows the respect this program has to lose two players of that caliber, and you're still picked near the top with more first-place votes than anybody.
Well, as you know, Neil, we don't really pay attention to the preseason rankings, but I think we certainly have a lot of firepower to replace with the loss of Jonathan Stark and Terrell Miller. But as I mentioned, returning 4 of our top 7, really the foundation of our defense last year. And that was one of the things I was most proud of our team. We had great balance. We could score upwards of 80 a game, but we were also, you know, one of the top defensive teams in the country. So I think that has to be our foundation right now, the defensive end of the floor. And you know, we're in a position where we have a very challenging non-conference schedule, so we have to be focused on getting better offensively, especially in November, December, heading into league play.
In case you've just joined us here, we're at OVC Basketball Media Day here at the DoubleTree Hotel in Evansville. Dave Winder and Neil Bradley with head coach Matt McMahon. And if you want to take a look right now, if you go to GoRacers.com on the front page, you can get the complete preseason predictions and the preseason team, which John Morant is on that team. And then Shaq Buchanan's on that team too, Coach. We called him the Swiss Army knife. He did everything good for this team. You look at where he ranked on the team, led the team in steals, and he just did about everything you needed him to do. If you take a look at the kind of scorer he was in junior college, he's capable of a lot more, and I think we'll see that this season.
Well, I wasn't aware he was selected preseason all-conference. I think it's well-deserved.
How did the impact of winning dual championships and making it to the NCAA tournament, how did that impact this season's team, if at all?
Hey, Coach, let me interrupt you just for a moment. I think his mic got turned off inadvertently there on the button, so we'll just pop that back on there. Hey, this is Facebook Live, Neil. So
that's happening.
We got to be able to hear our coach. There we go.
It might have been the best answer I've ever given, and no one heard it.
There you go. We got him back.
He announced the starting five.
There we go.
He's not
All
going
right.
to repeat that. So
well, I was getting hand signals over here, and I finally figured out what the problem was. So.
Right.
Do we have to start the whole interview
no,
over?
No, we don't.
All right.
I don't know how much we missed, but anyway, if you remember what you were talking about.
We were just talking about how we got the culture of our locker room established last year. I think our returning players have done a good job of teaching the younger guys how we do things. And I think we have a strong group of players. Now we got to get them all in the right seats, get the roles defined, get them accepting their new roles within the team. I think that's always the biggest challenge in college basketball. Normally, Dave, your 13 players have always been the best player on their team their whole life. and now you got to take these 13 best players and combine them into making a team. And I think that was, obviously one of the things that was important for last year's group, and it'll be the same this year.
You put the schedule together, and we always talk about how hard it is to schedule. I think the schedule is just great. I like the challenges we have on the road. I think our fans are going to love seeing Missouri State and Evansville, Wright State come in and play. Racers go to Middle Tennessee and SIU. You can go to GoRacers.com and check it out, the entire schedule. It's a puzzle, isn't it? And it's actually, the puzzle begins kind of right now, even for next season. You kind of start talking.
Well, it's difficult to schedule. I think when you look at the great tradition and history at Murray State, the home court winning record over the years, it's not an enticing place for people to want to come and play. So you have to go out and try to, as we try to schedule up. I want to play really good teams in November and December and prepare for the conference season. I think when you look at this year's schedule, opening up with Wright State, probably one of the few games opening weekend where it's NCAA tournament team versus NCAA tournament team. They'll be picked to win the Horizon. You've got the Conference USA defending champions in Middle Tennessee. Southern Illinois will be picked really high in the Missouri Valley. Auburn, Alabama. There's plenty of challenging games on there, but as I told our players, that's why you come to Murray State. You want to play against some of the best teams in the country and prepare to win championships. So we're looking forward to it.
And fans also, they don't have to mortgage their house to follow the team this year. There's no airplane flights during the regular season. It is a great fan-friendly schedule, Coach, with great opponents.
Well, we like the fact of, if you come into my office, you see the pictures of incredible fan shots from our games on the road.
Sure.
And we know the Racer fans are going to travel with us, so we want to continue to play the Middle Tennessees and Southern Illinois, where our fans are going to be able to attend as well. And like this first semester, we missed one day of class, and I think that's important that our players are in class and able to be successful academically as well.
The OVC pick, Belmont first, but it seems to be Belmont, Murray State, Jacksonville State, Tennessee Tech, and Austin Peay bubbling there. And really, any 5 of those teams could win any game on a given night, and there's always a surprise somewhere down at the bottom. How do you see the league this year?
Well, we're coming off the second best league, conference RPI for our league since 2000. So I think the talent level in our league's at an all-time high. I expect more of the same this year. I look at Jacksonville State with all the talent they return, great size at every position, a lot of high major transfers. Belmont with Dylan Windler back, and McLean ended up being a terrific player as well. Austin Peay, the team that Matt Figure's been able to establish there. You can go down the list, but the one thing about the OVC that's really become important in recent years is the newcomers to the league, whether it's Division I transfers, junior college transfers, or in Ja Morant's case, talented high school seniors coming into the program. It's a hard league to predict because so many teams are dependent on newcomers. So I think it'll be wide open again this season.
Coach, I was telling Michelle, I can't wait to get her on the Runner with the Racers podcast at some point. Same with you, because so far on the podcast, we've taken a lot of time with some of our student athletes from soccer and volleyball and the success they've had. Just talk about how Coach Schwepker of volleyball built his culture and his championship program, how Jeremy Groves and now Matt Lodge have done it in soccer. You are a voracious reader. You read stuff, you listen to stuff and it doesn't have to be other coaches. You're always, you've helped me out a lot just in the leadership area to see how you go about your business. Tell us a little bit about that, how you've developed heading into your 4th season as a head coach.
Well, I'm not very smart, Dave, so I got to try and steal the information from wherever I can. But I've really just enjoyed reading over the years, and I think the X's and O's and all that's important. We have to be able to run good offense. We have to be sound in our defensive philosophy. But at the end of the day, we have to recruit great players to Murray State, and then we have to be able to build them into a team and then lead them as young men to get better every single day on and off the court. So just trying to always find different ways, different things to study and learn, and then share those different lessons with our players. This year we recently showed some video of Kobe Bryant speaking to the Alabama football team during training camp, and I thought there were some great lessons there. We brought in a speaker, Joey Davenport, who really talked to our team about forming your identity and doing things differently than everybody else, doing the difficult things in life and doing them daily, and just different lessons like that that you hope will stick with your players, not only while they're at Murray State, but hopefully for the rest of their lives. So just trying to make a positive impact on the people in our program, and I'm trying to learn and get better every day myself.
Yeah, aren't we all?
I enjoy it.
We're all trying to get better. Every once in a while, I'll send him something. I hear from Tony La Russa, because I always, I got to get him. We're going to turn him into a Cardinals fan at some point, Neil.
I hope so. Coach, I do want to thank you. You saved me some money on generally every year I try to have a heart checkup, be sure I'm doing okay. But you had John Morant jump over 4 people, and I was about to go insane over there in the stands, hold it, but you let it go, and he did it. I've never seen anything like that. What were your thoughts when that happened?
I didn't enjoy that at all.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. Okay.
No.
He was over there in the corner, just kind of with this ashen look over his face the whole night.
I was okay with 3. The 4 was.
4 is where you draw the line.
That was it. That was the end of it.
Well, he's an incredible athlete. Just the explosiveness that he has, and that was impressive, obviously, to watch. But we can move on from dunk contests and just get back to 5-on-5 basketball.
Thank you.
Moving forward here.
We won't see that in a game, will we?
It wouldn't be bad, but
well, it would be bad defense if 4 players from the other team were standing that close together.
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of defensive formation that would be.
That is the one thing about Ja. Now, his ability to finish around that basket is incredible. I mean, even looking at the West Virginia game last year with Kanate for West Virginia, best shot blocker, one of the best shot blockers in the last 20 years of college basketball, and I think Ja had 2 or 3 3-point plays attacking him in the paint. So he is a special player, and looking forward to watching him continue in his development this season.
And all I want to say is if you're a Racer fan, you don't have your season tickets yet, you better get them. They're going to get tough to get this year.
Well, I hope so. I think we'll have a fun team to watch this year. I hope we can establish the same balance that we had offensively and defensively last year. And, we're going to really depend on Ja to run our team and lead our team. But I love the pieces that we have around him. With guys like Shaq Buchanan, Anthony, Breon, a bunch of these newcomers are going to have a tremendous impact on our team, and looking forward to a fun season.
Where Ja Morant is able to finish around the rim, I've always felt like from a distance, say if I'm on the other end of the court taking pictures, you see him go up, everybody goes up with him. They're all about the same height, and then he stays up there for a little while longer, and they start coming down, then he lays it in. It's an amazing ability that he has.
Yeah, it's good coaching. Good coaching.
There you go, Coach. Well, listen, Coach, thanks for stopping by. Rochelle and Matt both are going to be very busy starting here in about 10 minutes. They've got all kinds of interviews they've got to do today, and we'll just get back home this evening, and let's just get this thing going, Coach.
Looking forward to it, and hope everyone will come out November 5th for the exhibition, and then start right away, as we talked about, November 10th against the preseason pick to win the Horizon League in Wright State at home. Should be a great matchup and a great way to tip off the season.
Okay, Coach, if you want to stay just for a second, though, we are going to throw it to what is coming up here with the Racers and the ESPN Plus games that are the ESPN Plus games that we've got all season long. As you know, the OVC has entered into a brand new partnership with ESPN Plus. We hope that you've signed up. And then we've got the 2 games on ESPNU. The Belmont game at home is also on ESPNU, and then the Austin P game as well. And then there you go with the exhibition game on the 5th against Brescia. And then November the 10th is the season and home opener against Wright State. So we're really excited about the season and ready to get this thing going. So we're going to wrap it up here. But before we do, we want to take a look at the hottest football team in the OVC, and that's the Murray State football team. It's homecoming week at Murray State, and Saturday at 3 o'clock, we want you in the stands at Roy Stewart Stadium as the Racers take on Jacksonville State. We'll wrap it up here from Evansville and get ready for a big homecoming.